Hi, Ola and Chris. Okay, in this video, we're going into inventory management. So we're at the inventory management list screen. So this is where you'll start. You'll go from the menu, you'll go to inventory. Inventory will pop up, and you'll see right away you could easily search by inventory name, item, SKU, or description of that inventory item. You can add an inventory item. You can edit or view an inventory item that's already there. So you have your item name and your SKU right here. You have your description. We put the brand here, so let's say it'd be like Carrier or any other brands that you have. You have your category that's associated with. So just example, if this was a Innovair split unit, it would say split unit if that was the name of the category here. You could see how many quantities, what's available, and then how many you have on a purchase order. So you see there's multiple quantities and on order items here. So all this information is readily available to you right there. And you can see what the pricing is from a retail perspective. So let's go in and, well, let's search for an item first. So let's choose any of these items. Let's say this one. So we see W123 or 132 rather, and we see that pops up right away. So super easy to search by SKU. So once you're already familiar with your SKUs, so as these items are added in by SKU, you'd be able to just search them, boom, 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 they'd show up right away. So we can view this item. So right away we see the item name, we see the brand, and we see the category associated, we see the SKU, we see the quantities in stock and on order, we see the status of the item. And so the status is important because you can have an inactive item, and what that does is it just doesn't show up in your inventory list there. But as an administrator, if you are an administrator, you can search for that item. But from a quote perspective, and this is important, we'll go into quotes a little bit later, but you're still able to add and tell us if this is not something that you want. But you should, in my opinion, you should still be able to add an inactive item on a quote, but you cannot add the inactive item to an invoice. We think that makes sense because perhaps you want to make the sale, you know you're going to get the product, the customer's okay with when it's coming in at whatever point, they just want to be quoted for it and they can get the quote. However, we feel that you shouldn't be able to add it to an invoice until it has been received into inventory. So let me know if that works for you, but that status is important because then you could search for all items that are inactive if you want to reactivate a product, or search for that particular item, or just see the active items, which anybody else except an administrator can see. They only see active items. They do not see inactive items. You see the price of that item. You see the gross margin percentage, and you see the breakdown of the costs right here up at the top. So you have your first cost, you have your duty, you have your freight, and you have your shipping, and then you get your total for the cost. Again, of course, these don't add up because this is just all random data, but you could see it's all broken down by the cost based off of the information that you've put in previously. So all that's readily available to you. You have your description, and then there's no recent sales associated with this particular item. So there's no sales found. But if there were sales, you'd see a list of maybe the top 10 sales, and then like a view all, so you could see all sales associated with this item. So we could go to edit this item. So you see all the details are here. And so you know all your values here. So you'll say, okay, this was my first cost. This is what it landed for with the duty and freight and shipping. You could calculate your gross margin, or you tell the system what you want your gross margin to be, and it'll automatically calculate it for you. The quantity will be entered in initially when you create it, whatever you have in stock, and then it will subtract and add as purchase orders are fulfilled, as inventory is sold through the system. And we have a low threshold, so this is important because as items get sold, you want to be able to say, without having to watch it yourself, say, okay, when this gets to 10 or 100 or whatever it is, you'll get a notification through the system, whether it's by email or in the system itself. It'll say, hey, this item is now at this threshold. You probably want to look at ordering more because it takes X amount of time for it to get in before you run out. You could choose from a list of brands to associate with this product, and you can choose from a list of categories. So you have brand and category management, obviously very straightforward there. then you have an active or inactive state. So if you deselect it and save, it'll be inactive. And is VAT applied to this item? Yes or no? Again, you could just choose and update the item. So we'll cancel that. And that is just basic item viewing. You could go directly into the edit for a particular item if you just want to choose it right from the list here. And you can add inventory items. So we saw everything that you could add here. And everything's sort of default with taxable and active. But again, you can just deselect those if it's a non-VAT item, or VAT's been already applied, or whatever it is. Then that's create, that's edit, and that's basically it. And you have pagination here. You could go all the way through, and we show the search already. And again, so let's say we want to go to the search for anything search bar. So we have 13783. So I just started typing this, and you'll see this is the oops, let's see, hold on, 1378334. We have to type a certain amount. Yeah, okay, so here we go. Because some SKUs may be similar up to a certain point, so you want to type enough information to at least filter it down a tiny bit. All right, so we see we have this item at the very bottom here, the S13783 at the very bottom, and you'll see there's 3 in stock. So right in the search, it shows you some information, shows you which category it's in, and we have a sale that has this item associated with it. So let's just go take a look at that really quick. So we see yeah, it doesn't. Let me see where this goes. Oh, I think it is in here. No, it doesn't show the items. Okay, well, this is a separate section. We'll have to come back to this. But you could see that just by doing the search, I could see, and that would be a bigger list if there were multiple items or multiple sales with that particular item, etc. So really straightforward on the inventory as well. Inventory itself is sort of self-contained, and it allows the sales to subtract inventory. So if you sold 10, it would take 10 away from a certain item, and it allows purchase orders to add to inventory. So if you bring in 10, it'll add 10 to the inventory of that item that you've set initially. And you see, so really, you don't want to see 99 here because the one that's on order has not yet been received, but the system knows that you've created a purchase order that has at least one, or has one of these items in it. And then when it arrives and is received by the administrator or the person who has the permissions to receive purchase orders, this would then update to 99 if none have been sold, and then this would say 0 on order because that one has been received. So really straightforward here again. Let me know if there's anything you want to see here. Once the other sections are completed, but I don't want to go too much into them yet because I'm going to save them for separate videos. But what I was showing you here, where like you could go into an item and view a sale, so you could see that this item, whatever this item would be, has had 2 recent sales, and it shows you the sale that is associated with, the customer that's associated with, and the total of that sale, but not for that specific item. You'd have to click view sale, and then it'd go into the breakdown, and you'd see how many were sold, etc., etc., for this specific item. Actually, this may even be associated with it here, where it's items sold for of this particular item, or we could have it of the total items too. It could be either or both if you wanted that to be there. So you can see how many of those were recently sold. And then we'll go into that in another video, so you could see like the full sales cycle and everything that's associated with invoices and sales and everything else. So yeah, so that's inventory, very straightforward. I think another question you had was, is it easy for Chris to add inventory items? So really easy. So this is the form right here. If there's anything missing from this, let me know. We can add it in. But we wanted to keep it simple, have all the details here, and the system calculates everything for you, so you don't have to add that stuff in. You just add in all your costs, what your margin is, and the system adds the price. So you don't have to like put in a specific price and it's like set, because once you update all this information, because maybe, for example, like your duty costs change, and then that would be updated. Your shipping costs change, that would be updated. So it's all calculated for you, and so you don't put in like a final price. You know exactly what your margins. You can update your margins and you know, as you see fit. So it's very, very straightforward. Put in your quantities, etc. So Chris could do this from a tablet, from a phone. So let's open this up like it was a phone. So this would be, let's see, I'm gonna update this so there's some padding here. But let's just say this was like a tablet. This would be like your iPad, for example. So you can see it's really easy to type in here and go everything, boom, create item, items created from a phone. And I'm going to add some padding because obviously these shouldn't be touching the edges like this, but they'll be spaced like this where it'll be spaced. But you can see it looks really great on the phone besides the padding, and you could do the same thing. So if he's you know, going somewhere or at a location that's off-site, he doesn't need the computer to add an inventory item. It's really easy and very straightforward. So it working on all devices. And yeah, so that's it. That's inventory. So let me know if there's anything missing, needs to be added in here, or if you have any questions, and we can answer those. Thank you.